Hey everyone, it's time to continue with our red, white, and bloom quilt. We have section 1 complete and we have parts of section 2 complete. So let's continue on. Hey everyone, Cristin Som, and it's time to continue with our red, white, and bloom quilt. So like I mentioned, we have all of section 1 complete and we have several other blocks for section 2. So we did the cute little pop bottle blocks, and we did the cherries block, and we have those watermelon blocks from before, and we're just holding on to those. So we are going to work on the star blocks today. So the star blocks there's 2 sets of them. They're both on page 13 of our book, and there is the blue set and then there is the red set. All right, so I'm gonna do all of them. We only need one right now. So if you want to, like, if you have limited time, we just need one blue star block for right now. You could do one block, or you could do these 2 and leave the others for later. The red ones, those are for our corner blocks, so we won't need these till the end. So completely up to you, but I'm thinking I might be able to get all of them into one hooping, so I'm gonna try that. So I think that will make it easier in the long run to do all of them. So page 13 of our booklet, and I have various little notes here. So let's go ahead and go over the supplies for today. So like I said, I'm going to do them together. So I'm going to go over all of the products. So if you decide to only do one or just the blue ones, then you'll need to come back to this video for the rest. All right, so put your little packets aside. So for the blue star blocks, like I said, page 13, we are going to start with our main fabric, which is this blue with lines all over it. I don't know the name of it, but it's a navy blue fabric with lines all over it. And you do want to back this with Fusible stabilizer. It's a pretty good size. We're going to start with this at 6.5 by 6.5, and we want 2 of them. 2 of these, because there are 2 star blocks at 6.5 by 6.5 for our main fabric. And then we just have 2 applique pieces. So the first one is the blue houndstooth. Isn't that pretty? I did back these. I always back my applique pieces with Fusible stabilizer as well. That Kimberbell Fusible backing works great. The reason I do that is it makes it easier to cut. You won't have all the fraying on the edges, and it just looks crisper to me. I like it much better, but personal choice on that. You definitely want to do the background, the main fabric piece, but on the applique pieces, it's up to you. All right, so we are going to start with these. This is Star A, the Star A fabric, and it's the blue houndstooth. And we're going to start with this at 5 by 5, and we have 2 of them for the 2 different star blocks. 5 by 5 for the Star A, all right, the A fabric. For the B fabric, it's also a houndstooth. You can't see it very well because it's white on white. Oh, you can see it. That's pretty cool. All right, so anyway, this one is Star B, and we are going to start with these at 5 by 5 also, and 2 of them again, because there's 2 different blocks for the blue stars. So 5 by 5, 2 of those, and that one is the B. All right, Star B. All right, and then we are going to quilt this. So we are going to quilt this, and we're going to use batting. So our batting is going to be, what was it? So our final cut size is 4.5 by 4.5. So that means that our batting, we want it to be 5 by 5. 5 by 5, 2 pieces, 1 for each of the blocks in 5 by 5 for your batting. And then for the blue block specifically, we're going to quilt this with lines 1 in horizontal. Lines 1 in horizontal. And that's it for those. Those are just, it's going to be very easy, it looks like. But I will go over it step by step. And then if you're continuing on with me, you're going to do the corner blocks too, because why not? If we can get them all together, it makes it a little bit simpler, I think. All right, so for the red star blocks, we are going to start, there's 4 of these, 1 for each corner of the quilt, and look at how pretty that is. This is that navy blue petal fabric, and we want 4 of these, and again, I believe it's 6.5 by 6.5, yep, there we go, 4 pieces at 6.5 by 6.5. I did back mine with Fusible stabilizer. You want 4 of them, and you do want to back your main fabric. This will help ward off puckering, all right? So 6.5 by 6.5, 4 pieces. And then we have our applique pieces. So there's 4 of the red with white dots on it. And this one, we're gonna have 4 pieces at 5 by 5. I did back mine with Fusible Stabilizer. Like I said, that's up to you. I definitely prefer it. So 4 pieces on the red with white dots on it at 5 by 5. And then for the last applique piece, it is that white houndstooth again, and we're gonna have 4 of these. And this is also gonna be 5 by 5. I did back them with Fusible Stabilizer, so I will say I highly recommend backing these actually with Fusible Stabilizer, because look at what's gonna happen. That white houndstooth is gonna be on top of this blue, and it may end up coming out as like a grayish blue color instead of a stark white. So again, up to you, but on the white, I highly recommend backing them with Fusible Stabilizer. It gives that extra protection against the other darker color coming through. So up to you. 4 pieces of this white houndstooth at 5 by 5. And like I said, I recommend backing it with Fusible Stabilizer. All right. And then same thing on our batting. Oops, I missed one. Same thing for our batting. We are going to have 4 pieces that are 5 by 5 because our final cut size is 4.5 by 4.5. So that means that we want batting that is 5 by 5, 4 pieces. All right. Now for the red star blocks, we are going to quilt these with Pebble 1. Pebble 1 in a 4 by 4. All of them are going to be a 4 by 4 quilting design. And really you can use any quilting design that you like. I'm going to use Pebble 1 for the red and Lines 1 in horizontal for the blue. All right, so I'm going to bring you over to the computer to show you how to merge them all into one hooping. If you've got a big hoop, if you have a somewhat smaller hoop, you could do the 4 red blocks in a 9 by 9 hoop, 9.5 by 9.5 hoop, and then the other 2, the blue blocks, in a 6 by 10 hoop. Whatever works for you, whatever works for your hoop sizes. There's definitely lots of options, and like I said, you could just do the 1 blue block that we do need today. All right, so let's go ahead and go over to the computer. Hey everyone, so I'm at my computer now and I'm going to open up Embellishment Essentials. So I wanted to point out that I noticed that a bunch of you bought Embellishment Essentials last month, and I get a tiny little commission check on those, and so I appreciate your support using my affiliate link. I just wanted to mention that. It also tells me that you're enjoying the tutorials that I'm making and our step-by-step directions, so that makes me happy. Thank you. So I'm on Embellishment Essentials and I am on my 10 by 10 hoop. You can tell down here at the bottom, it will tell you what hoop you're on. I'm actually going to change this to my 10 by 16 hoop and see if I can get all of them, all 6 of our star blocks in one hooping. So I clicked on this preferences folder and then found the hoop size that I want, and then I'm going to click on this compass button and I'm going to click on H, and it makes it so that it will zoom into just the hoop so that I can utilize my entire hoop. All right, so there are a few things that we're going to do today. So we're going to start with the Lines 1. That's for the blue stars. So I'm going to go here to this Merge Stitch File button, and I'm going to find my quilting design. I actually moved it to my Red, White, and Bloom folder. So I think if I just click on that, it'll do it. Yep. So Lines 1 in 4 by 4 horizontal. Double click on that and it goes to the center. Now I want to point something out. So I used to keep it in the center so that I can bring in the embroidery design and join them together, or center them, I should say. Center them together easily by keeping it in the center. But a gal in our group sent me an email saying, or a message saying, hey, try this. And she showed me another way of centering it, and it works great. I think it was Tana, I hope. I'm not remembering exactly, but anyway, super helpful information. So always when you find little tips like that, share. Absolutely. I'm all for it. We're all learning this together. So, all right, so we've got it in the center. I am going to go ahead and move it. I'm going to highlight it so that I've got them all 5 parts selected. and I'm going to go ahead and move it to the upper left-hand corner here. You want to make sure that you're not going over the hoop lines at all. Otherwise, when you get it to your machine will get very upset with you. So just be careful that you're not going over these lines, and you can tell from the black squares. The black squares you should be able to see all the way around. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly change all the colors so that when we do a color sort, the things that I want to join will join, and the things I don't want to join will not join. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this first one. So 1, 1 right here. If I click on that and then click on the color down here in the properties window, and then I am going to choose the first color that comes up for me, and that is dark aqua. You can see here that I'm on Filtech Glide. That is my default color, and so your colors may come up differently. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the same colors as me. You just want to make sure to use the same colors that you're using on each of the steps. All right, so we'll go over that a little bit more. But so for me, the first one that comes up is dark aqua, and like I said, the color doesn't matter. It's easier for me if I use the first color that comes up. So I'm going to say okay. All right, and then 1, 2, click on 1, 2, and then click on the color. And the first color that comes up for me is Blaze, so I'm going to say okay. And then 1, 3, you can see the number right here. Click on the color, and we've already used dark aqua. You can see it right here. So I'm going to go down to the next color, which is Marine, and say okay. And then 1, 4, click on that, click on the color, and we already used Blaze. You can see it right there. So the next color that comes up is Oriole, so I'm going to say okay. All right, and then on this turquoise, this is the quilting part. You can see those lines right there. This is the quilting design, and I am going to use the same color, and so this is the important thing. If you want a different thread color on your quilting designs for the 6 blocks, then you don't want to use the same color here. You might choose to have two, a blue. They're all on a navy blue background, so I'm going to use the same color, but you may choose to use a gray on the first 2, and then on the red ones that are the corner blocks, you might want a navy blue. So decide that now so that you know what to join and what not to join. I'm going to use the same because they're all a navy blue. They are 2 different fabrics, but they're both a navy blue. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the same color. So I am going to click on the color. I'm on 1, 5, and then I'm going to click on the color, and the first one that comes up for me is Sprout, and say okay. All right, so that's the first one. So I need 2 of these with the 4x4 horizontal lines 1. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. You can do it this way. That didn't work. You can do it this way, or you can do it over here in the properties window. You can drag up from the bottom. I find it easiest if you click from the bottom and drag up. So either one of those will work fine. All right, so I'm going to say Control C for copy, and then I'm going to say Control V like victory to be able to paste it. And you can see that we had the one design, and now we have 2. There's number 2, and it's right on top of the first one. So over here it doesn't look like it's there, but you can tell here that there are 2. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this and move it over to the right hand side. Again, making sure not to go over those hoop lines. All right, so that's all perfect. Now the next quilting design is for the next 4 blocks, and that one I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File, and I'm going to find a Pebbles 1 in 4x4. So right there, I moved these over to my folder so that my computer would not be slow. My computer doesn't like my external hard drive. So anyway, I am going to click on this, and because you can see it brought it to the center, I'm going to use my arrow key. So you can use your mouse that you saw me use earlier to just move it over, or you can use the arrow buttons on your keyboard. That works, either way works great. All right, so bring that over. That one is moved over, but notice it's got all those default blues and oranges again. So we want to make sure to change that, and I want them to be the same as the colors that we used here so that we're doing all of the steps together at one time. So I'm going to go ahead and use the same colors I used before. So I'm on 3-1 now, and I'm going to click on the color, and the first color is dark aqua. That's what we used before. You can tell right here. So we're on 3-1, 2-1 was dark aqua. All right, so now we're on 3-2, the next one, default to orange. Click on the color, and we used Blaze was the first one. You can see it here. 2-2 was Blaze, so we want 3-2 to be Blaze. And again, whatever color you used is what you want to put on here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Blaze and say OK. Now on 3-3, look and see what you used. I used Marine, so I'm going to click on that color and I'm going to find Marine right there and say OK. And then 3-4, I used Oriole, so I'm going to find Oriole. And right there and say OK. All right, and then for 2-5, now this is the one that I was telling you that if you want a different thread color, you would not want to use the same color as what you've already used. I do want it to be the same, so I'm going to go ahead and choose the same one, which I used Sprout. So for 2-5 and 3-5, I'm going to use Sprout. But if you want those four to be different, absolutely change it here now. You want to know that now. All right, so that one is all done. Now what I want to do is I want to highlight all 5 of these steps, because just like how we copied and pasted this one, we need 4 of these. So again, you can do it by clicking and dragging like that, or you can do it over here in this window, click and drag up. Either one will work fine. All right, so I'm going to say Control C to copy, and then Control V like victory to paste. Now this one, I'm going to use my little arrow buttons to move it over just to keep it in the center. Doesn't matter. Either one will work fine. All right. So we have all of those already colored in the right colors that we want. Everything is great. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control V like victory again, and it brings me another one. Now I have 5 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the stitching and bring it down. You can either do it that way or use your arrow keys like I mentioned. Either one will work fine. So I am just wanting to utilize all of my hoops so that the fabrics, if they won't overlap. All right, we have a little bit of rim between each one with this large hoop. All right, so that one is all done because we've already done the coloring, and now we're just copying and pasting. So I don't have to copy again because we've already done it 2 others. I'm just going to hit Control V like victory to paste that last one. And now we have all 6 of these and they are ready. All right, so like I mentioned, or I think I did this before and it messed up, so I'm doing it again. Anyway, a gal, Tana, I'm pretty sure it was Tana that sent me this information, and she showed me another way to center both our quilting design and our embroidery design together. So we're going to go ahead and test that now. All right, so I am going to go ahead and click my H button again just to make sure I'm seeing all of my hoop and everything's centered right. So now we're going to bring in the star design. The star is the embroidery design that will go on top of our quilting design. So if I go here to merge stitch file, I am going to go to my red, white, and bloom quilt, embroidery files. Pez is what I use for my machine, and then it's the quilt. So if I click on that, it will populate, and it is a 5x7 design. So down here, there it is, 5x7 star block. So if I double click on that, it will go to the center, but I want it to center with each of these blocks. So this will be interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to move this, and I'm just going to move it kind of haphazardly so that we can see it move. Now, before we do a bunch of copy and pasting, look at what we have again. Look at all these blues and oranges. We're back to all those default blues and default oranges. We also have white on here twice, and we have an electric. So electric, that's a fun one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just change these. We want to make sure that they are different than the colors that we use for our quilting design, though, otherwise it will join with those, and that's not what we want to happen. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this first one, default one blue, and click on the color, and we know, oh look at it, comes up to different. So that's interesting. I assumed it would come up to that dark aqua and marine again, but it came up to sea green. So let's go ahead. The first one for me is sea green. So I'm going to say, okay, excuse my phone. All right. So the first one is sea green. I've already changed that. Now we're on to number 2, 7-2. Click on the color and ooh, look at those are pretty. We haven't had that before. That's fun. So I'm going to change it to the first color that comes up, which happens to be pink, and I'm pretty happy about it. So I'm going to change it to periwinkle, just because it's the first color that comes up, and because it's pink. So that's the first 2 are done. Now we're on 7-3. We've got another default one blue, so I'm going to go ahead and just click on the color, and we already used sea green. You can see it right there. So now we're going to go down to mint and say, okay, that's what color I'm using. Again, I already mentioned that whatever color you use, you just want to make sure that it's different than the quilting design colors you used and different than the earlier part of this star design. And you can always see them right here in this objects window. All right, so now we're on 7-4. I'm going to click on the color, click on there we go. Look at that passion. I need to buy some of these thread colors. That is really pretty. And there's one that's called Hope. I think I have that one. But Passion I haven't seen. So I'm going to say, okay. All right, so that was 7-4. 7-5, we have a default white. Now, if we did not change these, they will join and they will be in the wrong order. You'll see. So this would go on this. Let's see, that we have to think about the order of things. So really all you have to do, rather than all that brain activity of thinking, well, this one be on top of this one, you don't have to worry about that. Just change the colors because Kimberbell already put them in the right order so that they will have the right colors and not be on top of the other ones in the wrong way. So just change the colors. It will make it a lot easier. All right, so because if we don't, these 2 will join, and we want them to not join because we want them separated so that they're in the right color order. All right, so this first one is white. I'm going to go ahead and just change it to super white right there. That's the first one that comes up for me. And then electric, that's a fun one. I'm going to click on the color, and the first color that comes up for me is tar heel. And you see it's just really quick to change these colors, and it makes it so that when we do a color sort, we won't have problems. All right, so I want it different than the super white so that it doesn't join. If you did that super white again, it would join together and be in the wrong order. So I'm just going to click on the color, and then we have a super white, which we already used, and then we have a regular white. So I'm going to click white and say okay. So those are done. So we changed all of the colors on these so that what we want to join will join. And you want to make sure to do that before you do your copy and paste. Otherwise, you're doing 6 of them. This way, we just had to do it one time. Super easy. Now, notice I am only on this one color. So you have to make sure to click outside of the box or outside of the star. And then you're going to highlight all of these steps. So you want to make sure not to only copy the last thing that you're on. You want to get all 7 of these steps. See, 7 steps right here. Make sure that they're all highlighted. All right. So like I mentioned, I have this moved over in a haphazardly way so that we can just see about this new technique that Tina shared with us. So if I go to, I believe it's utility, and then align and distribute right there. Oh wait, before I do that, sorry. So we first have to select what we want to center. So we want the quilting design, which is that first one, and then this first star, which is number 7. So we want to make sure to highlight all of these parts. So if all right, I just found a really easy way to, because they're in a different order, it's a little bit harder. You can still copy and paste the way that I showed before, but a really easy way is to just close all of these. So we had all of these opened up. If we close them by clicking on this little minus sign, then they're all closed. And look at what we can do. We can click on that first one, and then we can hit our control button on our keyboard and hit that last one, and then they are both highlighted. That was very simple. All right, so that's an easy way to do it. I highlighted both of these. Just click on the first one, which is that lines 1, and then hit the control button on your keyboard and click on number 7, which is the star. All right, and then I'm going to go to Utility, Align and Distribute, and I'm going to hit Center and say Apply, and watch the star should move and center among this quilting design. Let's just see. Yay! It also moved the quilting design, but that's fine. So I'm going to close this, and notice that both of these are still highlighted. So I'm going to go ahead and just move this back up to the corner just to make sure that I have more room for my fabrics. Very easy. That was cool. All right, so there's our first one. We've got it all centered. It's perfect. Very happy about that. Now keep in mind that we want 6 of these. 2 of them will be in blues, and then 4 of them will be in reds. So it's very important that we just don't do all of them the same. So we're going to just work on the first 2 for now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this number 7, and if I click on it with it closed, then you can see here that I've got all 7 parts. You just want to make sure you have all 7 parts. And I'm going to say Control C on my keyboard to copy, and then Control V like victory to paste. And it went right on top of the other one. Right? Yep, there's number 8. So we can go ahead and take this, and I'm going to just haphazardly again move it over here so that we can make sure to see it move with this new technique that we're using. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I closed those folders, or it's not really a folder. I closed those embroidery designs so that I can see them all at a glance. So I'm going to work on number 2 now. There's the quilting design for number 2, and then number 8 for the star. So again, I'm going to hit the Control button with my keyboard and click on that. Didn't work. Let's try it again. Number 2 and number 8. There we go. Number 2 and number 8 are both highlighted. And you just want to make sure that you have both of those parts, and then Utility, Color, not color sort, sorry, Align and Distribute, and I'm on the Align tab, and I'm going to hit Center and say Apply. All right, and there it goes. I'm going to say Close, and I'm going to, while they're both selected, I'm just going to move it back up to this upper corner here. All right, perfect. I love that. That's so easy. All right, so that was the first 2. So those are great and wonderful, but we need to do the next 4 differently so that it doesn't join with the first 2, because then you wouldn't get a color stop. You need a stop so that you can change your threads. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually hit either one of them. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do the last one was number 8. I'm going to say Control C to copy, and then I'm going to hit Control V to paste it, V like victory, and I'm going to move it down here, but remember I need to change the colors. All right, we don't want those to all join. So let's look at the colors here. It's just the reds. I'm going to go ahead and just do them separately. It will be easier to just do them separately and know that we're joining those 4 and those 2. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just change these colors. All right, so if I click on sea green, click on the color, and we already used sea green, and I think we used mint. We have not used magic mint. So the third one down, that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use magic mint, and I'm going to say okay. And then the periwinkle, same thing. If I click on the color, and we already used periwinkle and passion, but we haven't used hope. So I'm going to use the third color down, which is hope. And then we're on to that mint. Click on the color, and we used, the last one was magic mint. So the next one down from that is cloud. I'm going to say cloud. It's the third color down. And say okay. All right, and then passion, click on 9-4. We're on 9-4 here. Click on the color, and we already used passion. We want to make sure not to have the same color. We already used hope, so I'm going to go to this wine now. So I'm on the 4th color down is wine, and say okay. All right, and I'm just going to open this and just make sure we didn't use mint. Yep, perfect. All right. So it'll look a little bit different as far as when we get to these whites, because there were only 2 white options, but that's okay. I'm going to click on the color. I'm on 9-5 now, and I'm going to click on the color because I don't want these to join. You could, because the white part is the same, But my concern is that then it may not join anyway because it will move them around. So I'm going to just change them. I think that's the easiest. So I'm going to go ahead and click on, we already used super white and white for the first two. So I'm going to go down here to brunette. I'm going to use brunette, and I'll know that it's the white and I'll show you on the YouTube video, but I'm going to use brunette and say okay. That's on 9-5 right there. All right, and then 9-6, we're on that tar heel. I'm going to click on the color, and I'm going to use the next color down, which is Eclipse, because we have not used that. I'm going to say okay. All right, and then this last white, I'm going to click on the color, and I already used brunette. I'm going to go down here to dark brown and say okay. All right, so you can see the star looks funny. It's certainly not red and white, and you could absolutely go looking through your colors and choose reds and something close to white. That would work fine. I'm just saving time and using colors that are, I don't have to spend time looking for colors. So it doesn't matter to me, but you absolutely could do that if you choose. It doesn't change the colors on your embroidery machine. You know that. It's just on this software. So it just makes it so that we can do a color sort. That's the whole purpose of this. All right, so I'm going to close this now that I have these all in different colors. Magic Mint, Hope, Cloud. I'm just going to peek one more time to make sure we didn't use those. Yeah, we used Mint, not Magic Mint. Perfect. Okay. So I'm closing the folder so that I can easily click the third quilting design and the 9th star. You can see 1, 2, 3 for the quilting, and then the 9th is the last star. So I'm going to click on that. So number 3, and then I'm going to hit Control and click on the number 9. And so both of those are selected. I'm going to go to Utility and Align and Distribute. And I'm going to say Center, Center, and say okay, Apply. Perfect. Close. And then I'm just going to move it back over here. Takes a second. All right, and then we're all good on that one. We have 3 already done. So now we're going to move on to the 4th star. So if I click on this number 9 star right here, I'm going to say Control C, because now we've already got all of those thread colors perfect. Everything's right for this. We just need to copy and paste it. So I have Control C to copy, and then Control V like victory, the V for victory, to paste it, and it makes a number 10. You can see that here. So I'm going to just drag this over here, and then I am going to close this folder. It's not a folder, but if you're a Windows person, you're used to thinking of it as a folder. All right, and then we are on, here's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So we want number 4 quilting. Click on number 4, and then the last star. I'm hitting the Control button so that it gets both of those. And then I'm going to go to Utility, Align and Distribute, and I'm going to say Center, Center, and close, and then just move it over to the side here. Perfect. All right. I think I'll move it up just a bit. Yeah, I'll do that one too, actually. But you have to make sure that you've got both of them. So it's 1, 2, 3. So it would, whoops, sorry about that. Having fun with my mouse button. All right, so 3 and 9. I'm going to click on number 3 and Control and 9. And I'm just moving it up so you can see it's not fully on the center, which just means that I'll have less space for my fabric than here. So I'm just moving it up a bit. It doesn't actually matter, but I wanted to do that. All right, so now we are just going to copy and, well, we don't even have to copy. We've already copied. So I'm going to just say Control V, and it should give me another star. So Control V like victory, and there's my star again. And just the star. So we're on number 11, and then I'm going to bring it down here a little haphazardly just so that we can see it move, because that's very gratifying for some reason. All right, I'm going to close those windows, and we are on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 5 quilting, and the last star. Hit the Control button so that they're both selected, and then Utility, Align and Distribute, and Center, Center, and say Apply. Perfect. Look at how nice that is. That's so cool. Sorry, close that window. so it doesn't get mad at you. All right, perfect. We have one more, so I'm going to say Control V again, like victory, to make one more star, bring it down here, and I am going to close this window, and we are on number 6 quilting right there, and the last star. So Control and utility, align and distribute, center, center, and say apply. Perfect. Say close and bring that block back down to the bottom. All right. Great, great, great. Now this is going to be interesting to see. It's cold in my craft room. We're going to see about that color sort now, because we have different stars, different quilting. So I'm not absolutely sure what's going to happen here, but at this point we have 72 color stops. 72. We'll be here like all day. So we definitely want to do a color sort, because that will just take up so much time. So let's go to utility color sort. Now remember, you want the same position that I have here. So I don't have this RHS pre-sort selected. I don't have position or material selected. And my tolerance level is at 0. And it's not my tolerance level, it's in Brilliance Essentials tolerance level, 0. So I've had messages before where people said, oh, I didn't get the same result that you got. Then it's because you don't have the same settings. You have to have the same settings. It also helps to have that, what is it called? Hidden stitches. If you have that turned off, that helps too. Just so you know, that's in the preferences folder. All right, so the design page has been reduced by 53 color changes. That sounds pretty cool, but let's check it. Always click New View. It will make another tab. We're on this first tab here. So I'm going to click New View, and it creates a second tab. So on this first tab, you can see we've got those 12 different design stops or design sets, and now they're all in tab 2. They're all in one design right there, one design. So I'm going to go ahead and just run through and just see if it did everything the way that I think it should. Let's just check. So there is the placement stitch for our batting, and they're all together and perfect. Number 2 is the tack down of our batting. Number 3 is the placement of our main fabric, our placement stitch to be able to put down our main fabric. Number 4 is the tack down stitch of our main fabric, perfect. And number 5 is all of our quilting design. Now remember, I did mine, they're going to be all the same, one thread color. If you did the first 2 in a different and then the next 4 in different, your results may be a little bit different, I'm not sure. But either way, you'll have less color stops. So that's all perfect. Now let's see, number 6, we have the first 2 of the, I don't remember if it's the white or the blue, but either way, those are together and that's perfect. And then 1, 7, those are together. And notice it's just the first 2, so that's exactly what we wanted to happen. And then 1, 8 are together, that's perfect. 1, 9, those are together and perfect. 1, 10, there's our satin stitch for one of them, and they're together. 1, 11, satin stitch also together, all the blues, that's great. And then back to the whites, and those are together. And then we have, so 1, 12. So that's the ending of the first 2. Now we're on to the next 4. So let's see what we have here. So this is all 4 of the first step, whatever that step is, all in Magic Mint, so that's perfect. And then the next one is Hope, and those are all together. Perfect. It must be the applique pieces. That's what these are. All right, and then the Cloud. Perfect, all 4 together. And Wine, all 4 together. And then we have the first of the satin stitching, and I believe it's probably white, but we'll know more when we get there. And those are together. And then the next set of satin stitches in Eclipse, that's perfect, and just the bottom 4 are selected. And then dark brown, those are perfect also. So that would be the white, let's see here. Yep. Good. Very good. So we had up here, it was super white. Oh, those are the edges, and then the middle. So this should be the edges. Yep. And then the middle. Perfect. That worked out perfectly. I'm quite amused. That's really awesome. So instead of 72 color stops, we have 19. What a huge time saver. I absolutely love Embrilliance. I think it's quite fun and so easy to use and so easy to learn, and we're all getting so much out of it. I'm very happy with this. All right, so my machine's not on. I'm going to go ahead and do a file, save stitch file as, right down here. And I am going to save it in my, not my cuties. I'm going to save it to my desktop. Red, white, and bloom. There we go. Embroidery files. Pez is what I use for my machine. Red, white, and bloom quilt. And then I'm going to name this Star Blocks. Star Blocks times 6. It's really 2 star blocks and 4 star borders. So pick your name, whatever is going to remind you. But Star Blocks times 6 is what I'm naming mine. And then you could also put what hoop that you're using. I think I'll remember, and I'm going to say save, and that is done. So you would now either transfer it to a USB stick or send it wirelessly to your machine. And that was very easy, very cool. I'm pretty happy about it. All right, so let's go ahead and get stitching.